I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a mail merge in Outlook, and I'm going to be using Outlook 2019 for this. This can also be done in Outlook 365 in a similar way, and also in Outlook 2016. The other thing is I'm going to take an existing mail list, import it into Outlook, and then mail merge it with it'll be with a Word document. I'll actually put it into a document as mailing labels. So I'm going to show you the process both of doing the importing of a contact list. I'm going to manipulate the contact list a little bit before I do the mail merge, and then I'm going to do the mail merge. And again, that'll take us into the Word program to finalize what we're doing with the mail merge. To run Outlook, I have typed in the search area, I've typed in outlook.exe/pim, and then I followed it up with just word whatever. You can put anything in the quotes here. The reason I'm running it like this is going to allow me to start Outlook without it asking me to connect it to an email account. This is going to save us a lot of time. The reason why you normally want to do this with Outlook is that you don't want to use the email features of Outlook, but you want to use other features with it like task management or the contact list. So I'm going to go ahead and just type that in and start it. Okay, so now again, it's not connected to an email address. I'm going to go ahead and go to People, which is where contact lists are. It's on the little double person icon at the bottom. I'm clicking that, and then I'm going to the contacts area. So because I've created a new account with no connection to email, I've got nothing in it right now, but then I can go ahead and import a file into it. I've gone ahead and created a mailing list for this process, and it's just it's a CSV file, just a comma separated value file that it has an Excel icon on it, but it'll open up it'll import into any program that can import a table like this. So it's just a straightforward table. So what I'm going to do is point out where this is if you want to follow me with this process. I've gone ahead and put it on gregker.net. So if you go to gregker.net, it's right on the top of the home page under the additional content area, and it's just a link. So if you right click on that, you can save it. And I've already downloaded it, so I've got it here. To import contacts into Outlook, you go to File and then use the Open and Export option. There is an import choice under that. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm looking at Import Export as where I want to be. In this case, because it's a CSV, I just need to choose the Import Export choice. And it's obviously I need to import, and it isn't one of the obvious choices here, so import from another program or file is where I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to click Next. Comma separated values is one of my choices. I'm going to hit Next again. And then now I'm going to pull this file. I've already located the file because I've done this before, but I've already located the file here. It's on the desktop, and it's called mailing-list.csv. It's asking me if I want to replace duplicates with items imported. So if I've imported some of these names before, it'll replace duplicates of those with whatever's in this. So if I'd added more information to those, I could overwrite the ones that are currently in there with the new versions of those. It'll allow me to do duplicates if I want to create duplicates of the same mailing list. You probably don't want to choose this option. I can't think of a good reason why you'd necessarily want to do that option. You can make copies of these yourself too when you're in Outlook if you for some reason want another copy. Or do not import duplicate items, which is helpful if you've done this once before and you're not sure if you've imported some names on the mailing list or not, so this won't get duplicates. I think this is probably the safest choice, so I'm going to select that, but there aren't duplicates in here. There's nothing in this contact list right now, so actually choosing any of these won't make a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. I'm going to add it into contacts directly, and then in here I'm going to go ahead and make another folder for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say Next, and at this point I could map my fields to ones that are in Outlook already. If you click on Map Custom Fields, it'll show you here are the fields that are in the current named fields in this file. I actually created this file as an export from Outlook to begin with because I wanted the exact same field names. I wanted these to marry directly from this to this. But for instance, if like, let me open up name. It's got first name, middle name, last name. Notice I have title, first name, middle name, last name as field choices in here. So those are going to directly connect. But if it had something like, instead of title, if it had something like prefix, I could say, well, prefix then equals title, so I could map it. I could click that and choose that and say it mapped to it if this had a different name than this. I don't want to do this because I did get these names from Outlook to begin with, so they should map directly with no problem. But I just want to point out that's what that map to is about. So let me cancel that and go ahead and just say finish. It should go right in. Okay, here are the names. And all the names are in, and there's quite a few names. Let me switch the view. I've got the view just on the straight people view. I'm going to go to the list view so we can see it a little easier. So I've got 37 names in here. I'm going to go ahead and create another folder, and I'm going to just take a few of the names from this and bring it into another folder that we can actually go ahead and do the mail merge with. I don't want to do the mail merge with all of these names. I just want to take like 10 of these names, just a sample of these names, and bring them over. So to create another folder, I'm going to go ahead and right click on contacts and say new folder. And I'm going to give it the name mailing list. You can call it whatever you want to call it. It's temporary, and you could call it like temporary mailing list or something, but this entire account is temporary, so I'm just going to go ahead and just call it mailing list. And then I'm going to say OK. It creates another folder here, mailing list. Now there's nothing in it, so what I can do is go to contacts, and you can just simply drag and drop these into it, but if you do that, you're going to move those. So the preferable way to do this is, I'm going to pick 10 of these, and I'm going to right drag them. Observe. Let me go ahead and just take 10. I'll just click through here, grab 10. I'm holding the control key as I click these, so I can click. If I let go of the control key, I'm going to lose my selection. So I definitely want to get the control key in there. So let me try this again. I'm going to click. That's 1. Hold control. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 10. I just picked a random 10. Okay. Now to get these in the mail list folder without moving these, if I drag right now, I'm going to move these. Instead, I'm going to right drag, and then I'm going to copy them. There. I'm going to click on mail list, and there are the ones. I'm going to click back on list so you can get a complete, the look is the same there. Yeah. So that's the original contacts, every contact, and then here's the 10 I want to work with. Okay. So now we can move on to the actual mail merge process. I'm going to click mail merge, but just briefly before I do that, I just want to point out that I have the fields I'm looking at here. There's like phone numbers and things like this, and what I'm wanting to do is create mailing labels for these. I'm going to do an Avery mailing label choice for these, just kind of a standard Avery mailing label choice. So I don't see the other fields that are in here, but they are in this. If you open up this file, you can open it up in Excel and just look at it. In fact, you can put stuff into it directly into Excel and save it again. But it does have the right fields, but it's got extra fields too that I do not need. So I'll be double checking that it's going to treat these correctly when I mail merge it, and we'll see when we get to that point. I'm going to go ahead and click mail merge option right here. And now it's going to ask me what do I want to select. So it is defaulting to all the contacts in the current view. So I'm on the list view here of the contacts. So it looks correct to me. I want to get all the contact fields that I see, and then I'll just choose the ones I need to as necessary. The next area is asking me what do I want to put this into, an existing document or a new document. I'm going to create a new document for this because I haven't created an existing label page for these. It's also asking me if I want a contact data file. I'm not going to create a separate contact data file for this, so I'll leave that unchecked. It's asking me what I want to merge it as. So I do need to choose mailing label at this point. Again, I'm going to merge it to a new document. This is all I need to check on this screen. I'm good to go. So I'm going to click OK, and it'll bring me into Word. Okay, it's asking me if I'm okay and I want to continue the setup. Well, yeah, I'm okay. So it's giving me the mail merge helper, which is useful because you're going to want to click on Setup and make a few other choices here. So I've already played around with these labels, but I just want to point out where this is. So let me sort of reset this back to the way it looked to begin with. So you want, it's normally going to start off just on some Microsoft thing. So first off, you're going to want to try to choose the correct printer that you're wanting to print this to if your plan is to print this. Now you could just create this as a document and save it, and that's all I'm going to do with it. So again, the label vendor I want to choose, I'm going to go with Avery, very common label vendor, easy to get these labels in any office supply store. So I'm going to go with Avery. And I'm going to choose the Avery US letter. Those are the standard mailing label choices. And I want the 18260 ones, and they are just way buried down here. So, man, Avery makes a lot of labels. So I want to do 18260. There we go. Or, no, that's 18. 18260 are very common. They're the 3 across 10, so 3 columns, 10 rows of labels, the small mailing labels that you see on all the time on letters. Okay, so found it. I'm good to go. That's really all I need to do for choice of setup. So I'm okaying on that. And I'm good. I'm really good to go. It's already got my data source locked in. It's just created a temporary file from Outlook. And yeah, I don't need to say anything with the merge data document. It's going to create this as I need it. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay, so now it takes me into the document. I can see that if you look at the rulers, you can kind of tell I've got 3 columns, and if you count, you've got 10, or 10 rows across this way down. So yeah, this is in the Avery label format. You can go into layout and kind of see it a little bit better, but it's good to go as it is. I'm going to go ahead and choose address block at this point, and this should pull in our information. Let me pull this over here. So this is our current information that we have. Now I've selected it correctly, so everything came in correct. It looks good. I should be able to click through and see all the records I selected. Yeah. Let me go back to the beginning. So that looks good. So there isn't really anything I need to worry about here because they look accurate. And notice that it didn't include phone number fields or like United States country field, because it assumes that it's just standard postal address from the United States. So that is the assumption it's working with. If it pulled in the wrong fields because it didn't match its concept of what those should be, you can go ahead and match fields. This is much like the mapping that is in Outlook, how you can map fields. Again, it mapped perfectly, so we don't need to worry about matching these fields. So I'm going to cancel this, but again, you could if you wanted to. So I'm going to click OK to that. So now it added that address block. So address block is the code that identifies that that's the record. So that's good. It needs to be on all of the records, though. Next record is just it's a code that indicates just open up and show the next record that's available in the list. So address block will be the first one, and then the next ones are the next ones. But you do need to add address block to all these other ones. You can automatically do this by clicking Update Labels, and it automatically adds address block. So again, address block will be the first record, and then it'll do next record, and then the new address block, next record, new address block, and so on. So this looks pretty good. Well, all we need to do now is just preview the results. So I'm going to click Preview, and perfect. At this point, I could print it, I could save it for later, I do whatever I want with it. And that's it. That's how you import a contact list into Outlook, manipulate it in Outlook a little bit, and then mail merge it into a document for mailing labels in Word.